probiotics. Should we be concerned?
Should we be concerned that Alexis asked about probiotics?
About probiotics.
That doesn't worry me at all, Alexis. Ask away. What's the question?
What about them? I think, you know, a lot of people, they take supplements or they eat particular foods that contain probiotics and bacteria. Do you think it's necessary?
The concept of probiotics is a relatively new one, and came about well after the abundant use of antibiotics started to raise its ugly head, you know, the effects of what can happen from long-term use of antibiotics. And only relatively recently are people starting to get savvy to the idea that if you're eating livestock, you're probably eating antibiotics at every meal, because the livestock's all on antibiotics. The rampant overuse of antibiotics is a major problem in the animal industry. But we're also seeing that antibiotics were being, for a period of time anyway, being not only prescribed but overprescribed and overused, and really makes a difference to the point of losing effectiveness, creating superbugs, and the whole thing. So
we launched an assault on the gut.
Yeah, but in reality, pretty much anything you're going to find that's supposed to be in the gut, you're gonna take that in with almost everything you eat. It's there in your fruits and vegetables. It's on your fruits and vegetables. We don't, as much as we understand microscopic stuff, most of us really can't grasp the idea of a city of 1 million inhabitants living on the head of a pin. I mean, microbes are little, and there's a lot of them, and they reproduce like every 15 or 20 minutes. Most microbes have a life cycle, you know, a reproductive cycle, 15, 20 minutes, and so they can multiply dramatically quickly. And I'll just give you an example. So we hopefully nobody's having dinner right now, but so we took stool samples on patients for a while, and noted that when they would come in for care, coming in off standard Western diet, a lot of the microbes that we would expect to find in the stool sample were there, but the ratios of one to another were completely skewed away from what you would consider healthy ratios. Put people on a vegan diet, on a cooked vegan diet. Put people on a raw vegan diet. Put people on 80-10-10, and recheck those ratios a week later, 2 weeks later, and they're completely normal. So somebody that might be 85% E. coli and 15% lactobacillus could be completely reversed to be 85% lactobacillus and 15 E. coli, which is more where we want to see that ratio. Most of the time, okay, if I said it another way, I've heard of one case in my life where a lady who should pretty much know what she's talking about made a convincing case for probiotics in her case, because she tried everything else over a period of about 7 years. She's been into the health scene for a long, long time. She's a doctor. She knows what she's doing, and finally, and she had a rash that just wouldn't clear, and finally she tried probiotics and the rash cleared up. Okay, is it possible? Yep, it's possible. Is it possible she didn't try all the right things first before that? Yeah, that's possible too. I don't know. I wasn't her doctor. Um, have I bumped into other situations where I found probiotics were necessary, useful? No. Have I found them to be counterproductive? Not particularly. Um, do I think they're dangerous? No, probably not. So is there a worry or a concern? Nah, probably not. Is it an essential? By no means. I would say I'm getting all the probiotics I need in my food. I mean,
Well,
okay, so the banana has no microbes on it, right? Because it's inside that nice thick skin. But then you peel it, and within fractions of a second, it's completely coated in microbes because the air is just stuffed with microbes. Every inhalation that we take, we're inhaling roughly 10,000, not just microbes, but all sorts of particulate matter. Somewhere around 10,000 particles per inhalation. You can't see any of that. And that's if you live in clean air in the country. If you live in the city, that number is closer to 100,000 particles of grit and life forms and organisms and bits of flora and fauna and pollution and construction waste that's been pulverized into dust. But 100,000 particles per breath. I don't know how many breaths you're taking. Say you're breathing 6 times a minute. You do the math. I mean, it's 300 breaths an hour, and it's a lot of particles. And so, and some of them are probiotic because they're just out there floating. But a lot of the rest is just in. It's going to just live in your gut if you took
if
antibiotics.
you feed it right too, because like what the bacteria needs is plant-based fiber from eating whole, fresh, raw food.
You
That's
create the
the
environment. It's like you put up a birdhouse, and the next thing you know, those. If you put up a birdhouse that's just for martins, within a couple of days, martins move in. I mean, it's pretty spectacular. So in your
right.
gut, if you create the right environment, the microbes will be there in no time flat.
I agree with you.